Jay here for Scotty and Motty. So that's Scotty and I'm Motty. And we're going to talk about what's been a week or a few days of just sort of the worst types of people coming out of the woodwork.
Yes.
Right? Because we've seen the best of the best in terms of the football. Messi, Mbappe, World Cup and all that. We've also seen some right whoppers, haven't we, over the last few days. But before I get into all that, and I'm putting you on the spot here now because I didn't chat about this earlier, but I know we had some sad news yesterday. I know it's someone who's very close to your heart, who you've mentioned on this podcast a few times. If you don't mind, sorry to put you on the spot, bro, but just an opportunity just to pay a little bit of a tribute to Terry Hall, someone I know you admire greatly.
Yeah, I mean, I got told the news early yesterday morning,
right? Okay.
Through a mutual friend, and I was absolutely devastated. It was just, as you'd expect, I've looked up to that man ever since I first heard Ghost Town. It might have been like the late 80s when I first heard it, obviously a decade after it had come out, and just the lyrics were always profound, him as a character and stuff, and that first debut album of the specials, and not just the music, but the lyrics have always been an inspiration for me as an artist. I always I think artists steal from other artists, and I'm not going to be ashamed. I mean, if you're going to pick someone, Terry Hall for me was one of the greatest songwriters of all time, and a lot of people will talk about Morrissey and his word usage, but he was just, for me, he was the musical Ken Loach.
Oh, I like that.
That's the way I've always seen Terry Hall. That's the sort of level and the stuff that he was writing about, and he's just, I didn't know how to put it out a couple of yesterday on Twitter because he got in touch with me a couple of years ago.
Right.
It was middle of the pandemic, midnight. Check me, I thought, it's a snide account, this.
Yeah,
and then Terry Hall's DM me. I'm like, fucking hell. And he was just, Mark, who's a mutual friend between the two of us, said, has been sending me some of your stuff. It's really great.
Wow.
And I was like, what? You know, it's like, honestly, I didn't believe it at all, and I was like, and then we go back and forth, and we're talking about football and music and stuff, and for like a couple of years, it was just whenever I put a United or Liverpool post on Instagram, he was always laughing at the bottom of it and stuff.
Yeah.
And still now, like, it buzzes my head that I just consider myself a little gobshite from Longsight and someone that I've looked up to and revered for the majority of my life as a music fan, and then further on as an artist. For that to happen just was a testament to the man, because he didn't have to do that. Do you know what I mean? His mate could have sent it to him, and he didn't. He could have enjoyed it if he enjoyed it, and then didn't have to get in touch. But he actually actively sought me out on social media because he wasn't following each other or anything like that.
That's great. That.
And then got in touch. And then I got the news yesterday morning, and then it was just I didn't even know he was ill. To be honest, I'll not share what I found out since, because of privacy for the family and stuff. But it's just. It's devastating, really, and it's just like I think they were planning to go on tour again next year, and I saw the specials. The last time I saw them was at Glastonbury. Right. May have been on Magic Mushrooms.
Oh, hey,
but
there's a combo.
But drugs aside, and I'm not saying I've said this before before I passed away, so I'm not saying it just as a
no. You've always praised him. You always have. That's why I raised it.
To see the specials at Glastonbury was just absolutely fucking incredible. But what a band and what a man! And I was listening to a podcast yesterday. Do you know, is it Richard Hawkes who does is the comedian at Leicester Square?
I think I know you mean.
I was up till 2:00, just like, I don't know about you, but when like certain people die that you've admired, you sort of go back through either the musical back catalogue.
I go through rabbit holes for days.
Yeah. So I was up till 2:00 this morning, just going through podcasts and stuff. And I knew a lot of the sort of backstory, but I mean, he absolutely hated Bono. And I mean, if that's a reason, you should like a man just for that. And
got my vote there.
Yeah, and he really didn't hold back on that. But he had quite a really sort of dark, troubled childhood and stuff. Okay. And I mean, obviously, similarities between what we've talked about on this show about addiction. He went through addiction and stuff and depression, and then came out the other side and was very candid and open about them sort of struggles. But yeah, I was just coming out the Arndale yesterday. My mate Ian texted me and said, like, it's not been released the news yet, but Terry Hall's passed away. I was like, fuck it. Honestly,
well, I thought of you, funnily enough, because you mentioned him quite a lot. On the podcast, and as me and you just chatted.
Well, I was going to text you, but I thought I don't want to be the guy who starts.
No, and I saw it, and I've always been a fan and I admire his work. Someone for me who, despite having commercial success, never sold out.
No,
always stuck to his beliefs and his roots and all that, and always had a message. Like you were saying about his views, I think spot on. I like the analogy you used with Ken Loach. Someone who very much cared about the working classes and gave a voice to the working class with Ghost Town and tunes like that. And it's just incredibly sad. And also, from a United point of view, I've seen people, so many Reds who've come out and said, You used to see him at games. I've gone to away matches with him. Massive United fan.
There was no ego with him. Everyone and all that. Like United home and away, he was always very approachable and stuff like that.
And it was, it is sad, and I hope that one, positive from this, if they can call it, well, it is a positive, is people who don't know who we're on about, who don't know his music, go and listen to it, because whether it's was it Fun Boy 3 or The Specials or as a solo artist, or he did stuff with Dave Stewart as well, didn't he? He did so many different projects.
He did an album, I think it was between Arabs and Israelis, and his intent was to try and cross the divide.
Really? Yeah. There's a task if there was one.
I'm pretty sure it didn't work.
Right, okay. Well,
But I mean, he was very politically outspoken, and one of the podcasts I was listening to last night, the week before he was due to fly out to America, apparently he'd either burnt an American flag on stage or done something about America, and then he had to fly out, and then he had to apologise to America before he allowed them the country to tour. And then the first gig or the second gig was in San Francisco, and then he said something about you could stick that stars and stripes at your ass. So I might be paraphrasing, but something along them lines. And then the tour was cut short and stuff. He was massively scathing about the American government, not Americans.
Not Americans, but the government, and I think we can all agree with a lot of
during the time he was doing it and stuff like that. But I mean, sorely missed, and I don't think that there's anyone to compare him to, really, because it was... And I know social commentary is such a word that's bandied around and passed on to people and stuff, but for me, the songs that he written in 79, I think the debut album came out, I think the second one's 80, 81. I was born 81, and I probably got into early 90s. But the music transcended, it was a decade apart, but he was still telling the same stories. Like Nightclubs, a song about a nightclub in 1979. That was like the Palace in Leamington in 1999. Nothing changed in 20 years. Britain don't change that much for the working classes, you know what I mean? And that's why I think that what makes him such an amazing artist, it was timeless and so funny as well.
Yeah, he seems that way. And go and check out his music if you've not done, or even if you have done. There's so many different sort of albums and projects, if you can call it that he works on as well. Different bands as a solo artist.
He did some really good stuff with Tricky.
Yeah, of course. From Massive Attack, sort of.
He was like
an affiliate one. I think he was in him for a bit, and then he did his own thing, like part of the Bristol Massive, is it?
Yeah, but it was a great track called Poems with Terry Hall, and things really, really
so,
good.
I mean, it's so varied. Such a good voice. So sad times. But
thanks for putting me on the spot, but I appreciate this.
No.
I mean that sincerely. Because it was nice to touch on it.
No, I knew it was obviously someone close to your heart, and a great voice. From one extreme, from a great guy to the other extreme, not so great guys. We've seen some, I said it earlier, some absolute nanas acting like nanas recently, haven't we? Should we start with, we'll start with Mr. Clarkson, because he's shown his true colours, didn't he? And this is a guy, right? If anyone doesn't know, if you've been living under a rock for the last few days, Jeremy Clarkson wrote an article in The Sun, which, straight away, that's already put me off. Don't buy The Sun. Where he weighed in on the Meghan Markle debate, and he said that he wanted to see her paraded, or she should be paraded through the streets naked and excrement thrown at her. Now, obviously, there's an element that's tongue-in-cheek. I'm not saying he's literally saying let's go and do that, but it's a pretty bad image that it conjures up. It's not great to say that about a young woman or any woman, especially someone who's suffered vicious online bullying.
Yeah. And
I'm no royalist, right? That's what put this out there. I think the royal family is a ridiculous concept. I think we should get rid of it. And I would love it if Meghan Markle and Prince Harry said we're not going to be Prince and Duchess whatever anymore. We're walking away completely, rather than we're just not going to be working royals. So I think there is a bit of a thing there where I'm like, come on, man, take the full plunge and just walk away from it all. But I still think this is a bit out of order, to say the least. And it just seems a bit disgusting, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but I mean, is it surprising? I mean,
no,
you said you opened that with saying like Jeremy Clarkson showed his true colours, and I think everybody who knows who's worked with him or his history since Top Gear on the BBC is like the man's got a reputation for himself and his opinions.
Well, I just wonder, like, because I've seen a few things. People say, no, the first thing people say is, oh, this isn't racism. It's nothing to do with race, nothing to do with colour. This is a guy who's got a long history of being, accused of racism.
Has he really? Because I'm unaware of
Well,
this.
he got caught on audio using the N-word, singing a song with the N-word in it. I don't mean a gangster rap song or hip-hop. I mean, he was just singing a little, like, nursery rhyme, but he used the N-word in it, I think it was. There was the stuff he said about Mexicans. There was the stuff he said about Chinese. I mean, he's got history of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This has consistently happened throughout his career, where he's been caught or, exposed doing or saying these things. Now, with Meghan Markle, maybe it's nothing to do with race. Maybe it's just to do with, the fact that it's the sort of the popular thing amongst a lot of people of a certain persuasion to dig her out. But you can understand. I can understand why people look at it and go, is it? Because, there's a bit of a racist bone in his body there.
I don't know if it's racism. I'm not going to defend it, but I'll be devil's advocate and stuff. And I just think that it's very on trend to be pointing the finger at them too. They put themselves in the firing line once more. They didn't have to do this documentary series, so I'm just going to put that out there.
I agree with that. I completely agree. They didn't have to do that, and I think that you are putting yourself in the firing line. I just think that saying a woman should be paraded through the streets naked and shit thrown at her is crossing a line for me. I don't think you need to do that.
No. But again, I'm not too sure how surprised we should be. One thing that I always think, and it's something I've come to recently, because I've just been trying to delete followers who just retweet stuff that I have no interest in and will piss me off.
Yeah.
Is the oxygen that we give to stuff like this.
Yeah.
Because I think I've read today that it's the biggest complaints that's ever been made. Is it Ofcom or something? I'm not too sure who has to do the.
Well, I think I don't know.
There's something like 17,000 complaints about the article.
So there's the complaints about the article. For starters, the Sun is a rag, and I wouldn't read it anyway. I think part of the issue is that this is someone who is on the telly, who does do stuff like he wants to be a millionaire and things like that. And I think someone like John Nicholson is it who does all the sort of the select committees on the media. He's saying some people who share these views and who encourage this behaviour shouldn't be given a platform on the telly. So that's why he's gone down the route, I think, of going to is it ITV or whatever employment going, is this someone that you should have representing you?
But do you think that his views on Meghan Markle are confined to him? Or do you not think that he speaks? Do you not think there is an audience for that? Because if you look at the wedding, was it the funeral when people were turning away from shaking Meghan Markle's hand? Well, there's an audience for it.
There's a difference between not shaking her hand and then writing in a national newspaper. Comparing, I think he compared her. He was compared it to Rose West, or he compared Nicola Sturgeon, I think, to Rose West, sorry, and then saying you want to see her naked with shit thrown at her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's my issue. That's like, if you say, I can't stand her, she's this, that and the other, I can't listen. I'm no royalist and I've not really got much of a problem if people don't like the royal family, including those that aren't working royals. I get it. But I think when you start saying things like that, it's such flagrant. If it's not racing, then it's very much misogyny.
Yeah.
And especially when
I'm not defending it,
I know you're not. Especially when you look at what's going on and what's been for, and you think, really? Is that the sort of language you're using here? And even the people, I've noticed all the people I've seen defending him, like the right wingers, they're all saying the same thing. Well, I wouldn't have said that, but do you know what I mean? It's like, well, I wouldn't have said it, but I can understand why, or I think it's okay for him to say. And I think not one of them is really saying I would have said that. I think that's all right because I think everyone can see he shouldn't have said it. And also his own daughter. Now you've got kids. If your own daughter does a post saying, I don't want anything to do with what my dad said, I don't agree with it, I think it's bang out of order, I think it encourages sort of bullying and harassment towards women, and I'm just disavowing myself from it, I'd be mortified.
Didn't Piers Morgan's son do something very similar though
I don't know,
a while ago?
Maybe.
About Piers Morgan. But I mean,
for me, that would cut me there, that. Do you know what I mean? If I've got my own daughter going, what my dad's done is wrong, and taking to social media to go,
distance himself from it.
And then a day later, he's waited a whole 24 hours, whatever he's done, and he's done this non-apology saying he crossed the line or whatever, and he shouldn't have said what he said. But again, it's not, I'm sorry.
But I just think that I know he's been a TV presenter for a while, but I've always taken him as a contrarian by trade. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I'm not surprised by it. I understand when people feel the need to, this is disgusting and share it and stuff. But you are just throwing fuel onto the fire. He's made a apology about it and stuff, but
to be fair though, the article's been taken down as well, I think.
Yeah, but and then again, he can have them views.
Yeah.
But he just didn't go down to the fucking printing press and go like, right, here's my article, and it's gone straight to the. You know what I mean?
So there's two editors, I think, the sub-editor and the editor, who'll have signed that off. And it's not like this is some small article in the Instant Messenger. It's the Sun newspaper, which, regardless of what you think of it, is a lot of people buy it and read it, bizarrely, but they do. So it's not like that slips under the radar.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like you go, we've got we've put something in the paper that we accidentally put in, we didn't mean to. It's obviously been proofread, it's obviously been checked, and it's obviously someone's gone, you know what, that's okay to go. Do you know what I mean? And I just think, sometimes we're buying this whole idea of like, well, everyone, and I know she's a very divisive character, I get that, But I actually, maybe I'm being naive, I do think a lot of people that even don't like it are better than that. And I think a lot of people going, nah, man, come on. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's, I mean, and I don't want to...
That sort of language is just...
Yeah, I don't want to stereotype a generation.
Right.
Because that'd be wrong. But I do think that the ilk of a lot that's come out along the sort of lines of Jeremy Clarksons and the Piers Morgans and what's the big lad who does Talk TV now that used to... Mike Graham, is it?
Oh, him? The one that thinks you can grow concrete?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They all seem like they've been born from the same womb. Don't you not think? I can't get his picture out the side of my head, and I keep thinking it looks like if you chucked a testicle in the water and allowed it to sort of float for a while.
Do you want to see him paraded naked through the streets?
No.
No, me neither. Yeah, I just feel...
His face looks like it's going to swallow itself.
It's not great, is it? But, I mean, I'm not going to sink to his level, but I commented on his appearance. I'm sure, beauty's in the eye of the beholder and all that.
Let's behold him.
Yeah. But a lot of people upset about it, and I get it, and it's just a bit minging, and it's just... You're right. Shouldn't be surprised. You've got someone who's made the name by being a bit of a nana, writing in a newspaper that's well known. You've had people like, I think, Kelvin McKenzie and people like that defending him, obviously. Piers Morgan.
But but do you know what I mean when I say you add fuel to the fire by sharing it? And we're talking about it now.
I don't like the idea of just ignoring shit that I don't like. I struggle with that. I get what you mean.
I've muted you on Twitter because you depressed me with some of the stuff you talk.
Have you?
No, but fucking
I'm about to say, you replied to a lot of my tweets for someone who's muted me. Fucking hell. How have you done that?
No, but I just sit there and I think, fucking hell, like...
But you've done that. You've got involved in conversations, haven't you, with people where you disagree with them or you don't like what they're saying.
Yeah. But I mean, this is like I said at the beginning of this, it's like this is something I'm actively trying to stop doing for my own mental health. Like, you're making me give a fuck about things I wouldn't care about.
That's where
me.
Yeah.
I don't care about Jeremy Clarkson's opinion on anything.
I understand that, but part of me does. Part of me does care that you can just say what you want and get away with it.
Do you think he'll change because you don't like him?
Well, that article's already gone, hasn't it? And that's because of the outrage.
But it's all right. But I could find the article in 2 seconds.
It's not on it. No, it's like that news. Like, say for example, here's a good one for you. Was it? What's his name? Do you remember the article after the 2012 Olympics?
No.
Where it was like, what sort of self-respecting white middle class lady would go out with a black man when they had that mixed race family?
Who said that?
In the article in Daily Mail. Do you not remember?
No.
It was an article in Daily Mail. And it was like the ad for Danny Boyle did his opening ceremony, and you remember you had the family on it, didn't you, on the stage, and it portrayed the family and the kids and all that. And it was a mixed family. It was a black guy and a white woman, and it said, the article in the Mail said, oh, what sort of respectable white woman or middle class woman would be married to a black man? That was like the gist of the article. I'm paraphrasing, and it was outraging. People like myself were fuming, and like. That article got took down, and people are like, you know what, that's not okay. And that's why I feel like you should call out shit that you think's not okay. Because I feel like if you go, I'll just ignore it. People think they can get away with it, and people think it's all right to say shit that I think is wrong. Now, the thing is, maybe my opinion doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't affect anything. Do you know what I mean? But maybe it does.
The thing is, I think that's obviously racist, whereas the way he phrased what he said...
But I think that's obviously at least... sexist, isn't it? Misogynistic.
This is the Sun that used. I'm not too sure if they still have. Did they still have the boobs in the paper?
No, that went out in like 93 or something, I think. Not 93, so whatever. Like a long time after it should have done. So I understand the thing of like, just ignore it. I hear the same thing on the same people that do the same things. Like Piers Morgan or whoever. People say, "I'll just ignore him," and I don't follow him, and I don't really tend to. Now and again, I might mention something he's done. I think, the Sterling thing annoyed me when he was going on about banning him from the World Cup for his tattoo. Yeah. I remember that was one that really did me head in. But I understand the argument of, just ignore him. But then I think, well, if you see something that's just audible, you should... I don't mind calling it out and going, this guy, man, look at the fucking state of it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you just say, just ignore it.
I think, well, the way I'm trying to force my head to think is if I feel like I can actively make a change rather than screaming to an echo chamber. And you're right that the article's been pulled down.
Is it an echo chamber though?
I think so. I think most of... Jeremy Corbyn would have won the last election if I believe my Twitter account.
Oh, your followers is like people that agree with you, and it's a bit of an echo chamber where they'll just sort of regurgitate your views.
Do you not find that on yours?
I think because people that follow me for United, a lot of people argue with me about politics. Because they're not all of the same political persuasion. I've got, sounds really big-headed. I've got a lot of followers on Twitter, but most of them, in fact, 99% of them probably follow me because they watch the channel
Yeah.
or they want United opinions or stuff. So when I do my political views, which I do quite a lot, because it's my personal Twitter account, it's not Stretford Paddocks. The majority of people agree with me. I think I've, but there's quite a lot that don't. Some of them I've engaged with. Some of them I've started following back. Who, and they're Tory voters and they're people that I don't necessarily have the same political views as, but I can have a good conversation with them. But there's some who, I would never have it with and who just won't have it with me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's. I don't feel mine is as much as just people who agree with me. I think me who I follow is. Yeah. I only follow people that basically agree with me. I don't now and again like one or two sort of like the ones I mentioned, but again, I'm not one of those who's like, oh, what's his view? I don't agree with that. I'm going to follow him just to broaden my horizons. But a lot of my social media for me is people that are on the same thing. But I think when I post things, a lot of my followers aren't. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't.
I think explained it very well.
I think I've said this quote before, and that was Anthony Bourdain, is that I don't have to dislike you just because we don't share the same opinion. And it's, the whole problem with this is how you articulate the opinion. Yeah. And the thing with the Jeremy Clarkson is that, in my belief, he felt like he was writing for an audience. Yeah. And people might have different opinions.
Do you know what I
sun.
would though as well? I know this sounds contradictory, but this is what I sort of winds me about these people is, if you firmly believe that and you firmly believe what you've done is all right, stand by your guns then. Say it with your chest out. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I think we've said
this. I
think you've said this before. Yeah. It's like, I'd rather speak to an honest racist.
Yeah.
Than someone, you know what?
I said what I said. And what?
Yeah.
Not, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
And
I've crossed the line and, I'll try and be better in future. It's just... It's the worst of both worlds.
It wasn't an apology, was it?
No, it's a non-apology apology of the usual.
And I think he was being sarcastic, obviously, wasn't it? With some Games of Thrones reference.
He said it was a reference to Game of Thrones, where...
no, I don't. I've never watched it.
Oh, have you not? Lena Headley's in it, and she gets marched through the streets of Westeros or whatever the fuck it's called. And I didn't even know they threw shit at her. That's news to me. But I know she's naked, and they shout shame at her, so apparently there's a reference to that. Yeah. That's what he said. But, it upset a lot of people, and including, his own daughter.
Do you think that this is as big a news as the nurses striking or people or the unions? Because I think... No, it's not. But
the nurses striking is much bigger.
Yeah, but it's took a lot of people's attention that they're onto this.
Do you think that's deliberate?
I don't know if it's deliberate, but it just seems a little bit... I wouldn't put it past fucking... it seems quite shrewd. Who knows? But... It seems to have taken a lot of attention away from it, doesn't it?
A little bit. I think
we're talking about someone who used to do a Top Gear show about racing fast cars, having an opinion on a young married couple. Is it that important?
I think the issue is, though, you've got someone who's still on. I think he's still on. Who wants to be a millionaire?
I'm not sure.
I think he's still on there. I think he's got obviously this platform, and it's not just online. If it's different, if it's just Twitter. I mean, Twitter's you can say what you want and. That's a different conversation, especially with now sort of Elon Musk letting everyone off the hook in terms of people who've done horrible things in the past are allowed back on. But I think when you've got a column in a newspaper and you're able to say those things and you've got such a prominent role, it is a bit like, why is that all right? Why should you be allowed to say that? Do you know what I mean?
Do you think there was any complaints from the Sun's advertisers? Because I guarantee that loads of people were going to that before it was pulled down, that would have been one of the biggest hit articles.
I always think if you're advertising with the Sun, you've more or less left your moral compass at home, haven't you? Do you know what I mean? If you're saying, like, I'll tell you what newspaper we'll advertise with, the Sun, you're probably not asked, are you? You're probably like, Jeremy Clarkson's at it again, eh? Little scamp. Hey, I've already seen people. She's not even said anything or done anything, and people are already having a go at her for being the part of this article. Like it's her fault. Do you know what I mean?
I don't get the fascination with them either, though. Like, because they and it's nothing against them. Is it? Yeah. I just don't care.
No, my missus likes that documentary. She said to me, "Do you want to watch the documentary?" I said, "No, I'm not into it." Because I don't like the royal family. And I'm not particularly bothered about them, so I just don't like the grief she gets, and I hate the fact she gets so much grief when you've got someone who paid off his sex traffic rape victim sat there still called Prince Andrew and no one hardly ever wants to chat about that.
Do you think Clarkson would want Prince Andrew taken through the streets naked and people chucking shit at him?
Well, he's certainly not said that, has he?
Well,
do you know what I mean?
No, I know.
It's weird that, innit? You've got a guy who's done pretty much the most horrible things you can do, and yet no one really wants to chat about
because
that.
it's on trend, isn't it? I mean, that's what I said. The article, the second episode of the series, the second part of the documentary came out on Thursday last week, wasn't it?
So I'm just calm.
I think it was. We had to, I had to pretend I was really interested on my radio show the week. Like, oh, this new Harry.
Really?
Is it Meghan?
Yeah. Wow, you don't even know her name.
Yeah.
That's a level of suggest.
Merkel.
Because my missus like to me, come on, man. Do you want to watch this, mate? I was like, no. I couldn't think. I'm just not interested at all. I'm not, like I said to you, like, get rid of the royal family. When I see the amount of shit she gets, that actually makes me want to stick up for her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that.
Especially when I see, you always think of who's on your side of the argument and who's not. Do you know, when I see, you mentioned there the Mike Grahams, the Darren Grimes, the Piers Morgans, the Jeremy Clarkson of the world. I don't think I've ever been on the same side as them on any subjects. Do you know what I mean? So I always think, like, why are these lot piling in on her? Like, what's this got to do with you? Do you know what I mean?
No, and I get it, Jay, and it's very admirable, but I mean, my mental head can't take it, getting into fights. Like, and most of them have blocked me anyway. So
have they? Yeah. That's a badge of honour, that, bro. Like, Steve, who I do the channel with, he used to wake up every morning. His first tweet used to be, "Good morning to everyone except Piers Morgan. You're a see you next Tuesday." And eventually Piers Morgan blocked him. But he had other reasons for not liking Piers Morgan, going back to the fake photos and stuff.
Piers Morgan blocked me because he called someone unintelligent for having a difference of opinion. And I called him out on it. But in a polite way, I said, how arrogant are you to call someone stupid because they disagree with your opinion, and just block me off. That wasn't any, and I've been a hell of a lot worse to people.
Yeah. Who's your best block you've had?
The weirdest one was Andy Cole.
Andrew Cole?
Oh,
bro, that one's got to hurt, man. Why is he blocking you?
Because I said we were playing West Ham, and I said, oh well, I hope we get, I hope we do better today than when Andy Cole couldn't fucking hit the back of a cow with a banjo or whatever.
Right, well, okay,
at
then,
Upton
to
Park.
be fair,
But then he came back at me like, well, you wasn't saying that in '99. I said, I was just a joke. You had a bad game, and he took it bad, man. But I think, to be fair to him, I think he might have been going through like he was during that ill stage.
Yeah, he wasn't well for a while. I mean, to be fair, there's a good chance he's not even managing his social media account.
Oh, it definitely sounded like it was someone who was, yeah, you like it was like, well, you wasn't saying that in '99.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I wasn't. And then I tried to like backtrack, said, I'm a big fan, and then tried to reply like, you are blocked. So that was the weirdest one. Or it's the people who block you for you've had no interaction with them. I was like,
yeah, I've had a few of them. Now and again, I get things come up on my timeline when I click on it. The guys block me, or the girls block me, whatever. And I think like we've never spoke, whatever. But I listen, I understand it. The weirdest one I've had, I deserve a lot of my blocks. Like, I've earned them because I used to go for a stage in my flat, sniffed up, pissed up, arguing with people and giving them grief, right? And it's not nice, and you shouldn't do it. And I don't really, advocate it, but a lot of them were asking for it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? My weirdest one is probably Steve Brookstein. Do you remember him?
The singer from X Factor.
Yeah.
Or was it Pop Idol or whatever?
I don't know. Pop Factor. He was having a go at depressed people, saying that, people who are depressed, it's just lazy sadness or something. You need to get a grip and all this. And all I did was post a picture of him performing in Costa Coffee in front of 2 pensioners. And just said, you know what I mean? You've done well to keep your chin up after, when your career's going this great. I don't think that was that bad. You know what I mean? I'm not into trolling that, but I thought it was a reasonable comment. He blocked me.
Brilliant. I got blocked by Mark Monahan. Was it Mark?
Oh, the Brookie guy.
The Brookie guy when he started offering out Sergio Ramos.
When he said, let's have a fight, a charity boxing match because they lost the Champions League final. So what did you say to him?
I can't remember, but I was brutal. I like, if there's anyone that I sort of dig at, it's usually Liverpool fans.
Yeah, and some of them don't take it too well, do they? David A blocked me.
David A?
Yeah, he blocked me.
Really?
Yeah.
He's not been usually good at dodging a jab.
I don't remember what I said. I don't think it was that bad. But he blocked me. A journalist blocked me once. It was a bit awkward because he blocked me, and then a week later we were on a podcast together. But we got on really well. Yeah, it was mad. But he hadn't blocked me because of necessarily what I'd said. It was like he'd said something that was provably wrong, and me and other couple people had pointed out like that's not true. Look. And then other people joined in and started being a bit more offensive, and I think he just blocks everyone. Do
you think you represent yourself on Twitter for who you are? Because I don't think you do.
In what way? What do you mean?
Like if I read your tweets as a history and said like, who do these and they're anonymous, who do these belong to? taken the United ones out of there. I don't think I'd say they're like they represent you as a person. I don't think anyone's social media, because I just think you're fucking scathing, and you're very sarcastic, but you're not like you. But I know you, and we both know that you're doing like a tongue of cheek. You don't really mean any malice towards anyone, but you're just very like, you know, quick-witted and stuff like that. But I think sometimes because it's down in black and white, it's been taken as literal.
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that like because you're a nice, fun guy. You know.
I think the trouble with Twitter is, you know, you'll see if I get like, I've had people tweet me, you know, oh Jay, I'm struggling, or Jay, whatever. You know, I'm always trying to sort of interact with people and reply to people and stuff like that. And I don't like to punch down at people if someone's going through a bad time or something. I don't like to fire a shot at them. But there's times, and I try to avoid it a little bit, but especially with the sarcasm, I'm always on that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, all the time. Like the Piers Morgan thing. I think the one thing I said to him about Meghan Markle was, I'm glad you're finally speaking up on her, because it's about time you did. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, so things like that, I am quite, and I'm not like, I think if it was like in real life, and I'm not getting chinned. If I was constantly like just being sarcastic, I'd be like, this guy, I mean, like, can't be having it with him. Are you like that though on socials? Because you said you don't think you are.
I've sort of toned down because of employment, like in terms of political stuff.
You were never that.
Nah, I was bad, man. I went through this whole. I remember when I started getting involved in doing more political poetry. I did a poem called "This Is England."
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't celebrating any political party. It was just saying what a shambles it was. But then everyone just sort of, that was following me or was like a fan of my work, felt like I need to go down more of that angle. And I lost my head thinking, all right, well, I'll go down that angle and start. And I started like fighting on hills or dying on hills that I wasn't really interested in. So then like you, where you'll like see someone who's been abused wrongly for whatever reason, I'd be like, oh man, they're striking down there in Norwich. And then I'd be like, this is disgusting. We need to sit, you know what I mean? And I'd be like, why am I up till 4 o'clock in the morning trying to solve the human rights in Rwanda? Honestly, and it was like, and I just like sit there and write like some fucking madman. And like, and it's just
that's
unhealthy.
When I had to stop. No. I had to stop arguing with people. I don't argue with people a lot. I'll quote.
You don't reply much now, do you?
I don't. I had to stop for my own sake, because I was getting, and even some people I know I don't reply to them at times. I've got friends who sometimes when they tweet me, I just ignore it because I can't be asked getting into one with them. People I've got good friends that I do that with. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like genuine mates who I hang around with you. I just think I can't bother getting into it with you. Because I used to get in my head with it. And like, I told you this story a few times, Anna. There's two things I want to sort of. So there's one thing I regret on Twitter. That, of all the tweets I've done, there's only one where I really regret it. And that was arguing with a Leeds fan. This was about 12 years ago. This is early days of Twitter. Because I'd spoken about getting racially abused when I went to Ellen Road. And it had triggered a load of Leeds fans who just started having a go at me and slagging off United. And there was one girl in particular who was going on at me. And I made a comment about weight. And I wish I hadn't done that. I regret that. Yeah. Because I lost the argument straight away. You know what I mean? She won that argument.
Once you'd done that,
yeah. Yeah, and it was shitty and I shouldn't have done it and it wasn't nice. And plus I'm in no position to comment on anyone's appearance anyway. So yeah, that's the one where I think I deleted it, but it doesn't matter. You did it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always felt...
But that's the thing. It's like you getting dragged into that heat at the moment.
Yeah, and I did it, and I was like, and afterwards I thought I shouldn't have done that.
But you're reacting, and you're reacting against type to people you don't know, and that's what I mean with the whole Jeremy Clarkson. I don't know the guy. I don't give a fuck about his opinion, so I'm therefore I'm not going to really get caught up in it.
But the other one was that sort of stayed with me, and this is why I don't tend to reply when it's people arguing and shit. I can't bother. I remember once arguing on a topic. I can't remember what the topic was. But I was on a school run and I literally pulled over the car to carry on this argument on Twitter because I was that angry. Yeah. And I was like, hang on a minute, with the kids in the back of the car, I think it might have been just before lockdown or whatever. And I was like, just 1 minute, I've just got to reply to Marshall_1997 about whether fucking, Marcus Rashford's any good or whatever. It was just, hang on a minute, I've got to take a step back, man, because this is just getting too stupid.
That's really interesting because me and Twitter or social media and we spoke about this on the Patreon, and if you haven't subscribed to the Patreon, you can do so. It only costs you is it £2
a month, and you get extra articles and everything, videos.
But I was talking about the sort of bipolar state that I found myself in because I didn't know who our kid was and where David's. The lines being blurred, And like I just found like myself like, what would our kid be doing? All right, well I'll just like write a tweet from this and this fictional characters, and then people would take that as, and I still do that like now for a laugh, just fucking doing this for a bit, and then it's just a fucking story, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I get that.
But it's like, but I'm adamant that I'm just fucking done with it at the end. I'm taking a good chunk of time off at the end of the year. I know I've said this before, but the Glazers, like decided they were selling United.
I took myself off Twitter in solidarity with you once. Do you remember?
Yeah, that was when the political stuff had to stop because the BBC told me I had to.
You were told, and then I said, right, you were off Twitter. I said, because I can't remember. You'd got a load of grief for something.
It was off the back of. I'd said the opening goal in the last Euros when England scored, and I said that's a fantastic representation of a multicultural country. Which what's wrong with that?
How dare
and
you
then
say that?
and then I had a whole load of people getting such. You need to be impartial. Where's the impartial? Where's the line there?
Yeah, I remember that because I remember I said, right, I'll come off with you, bro. I got you back. And then about 3 weeks later, or whatever, you were like, right, I've done my bit now. I'm coming back on. Because I had people, our mutual friend, people messaging me, has he been took off? I'll get him back on. I went, no, he's took himself off. Slightly less controversial or sort of,
comedy character,
aggravating, but somewhat annoying, was the World Cup final, the aftermath of it. This moment of triumph for the Argentinian side. And obviously massive disappointment for the French side. And then you had some people on the pitch who maybe shouldn't have been there. So Emmanuel Macron, who, isn't scared of or shy of a photo opportunity, he went over to Mbappe, didn't he? And we've seen the pictures of Mbappe just doesn't want to know. You can see he's just like, just leave me alone. Hugging and whatnot and trying to ruffle his hair and just trying to console him and get that photo opportunity. And then you had this Salt Bay guy who's all over the Argentina pictures, like at one point taking the trophy out of the players' hands and away from their kids because they're all posing with the trophy of his kids to do his sprinkling thing that he does. Which it just seems to be that, regardless what you think about the World Cup or whatever, I don't know, it just seemed a bit, what is going on here and why are these people doing what they're doing? Do you know what I mean?
Where's the security? How do you get someone who's famous for sprinkling salt on a steak on the pitch at World Cup final?
What I don't understand, right, is, as well, if you want to go on that pitch and get a photo with a trophy, right, let's have it right. If me and you got the opportunity, we probably would, wouldn't we? Even if we hadn't had nothing to do with it, probably go and get a photo with a World Cup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm having a bit of that. But then I get my photo, and then that's me done. Do you know what I mean? He's going over, taking the trophy out of next man, taking it off him. Like, he's getting like 20 pictures, and every time someone's got it, he's over to him and like take it off to do his sprinkle thing. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, why have you done that? And also, if you're with your kid, and your kid, like, regardless of kid's age, but especially if your kid's a toddler, and you're there posing for a pic, I'm not going to come over and get involved. I wouldn't do that if it was, you're having a picture outside Blackpool or whatever, let alone at the World Cup final, taking the trophy and like, making it about him and his sprinkle meme. It comes across as terrible, man. I was looking at the amount of videos and people have clipped it up, and he kept doing it, and he was doing it with Messi, trying to get Messi to send Messi, just didn't want to know. And you just think, honestly, it just looked terrible.
Is that any different to Jeremy Clarkson?
Is it any different?
In the sense of like just acting like a dickhead for publicity. Do you know what I mean?
The publicity thing.
You're talking about it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, everyone is. Yes, everyone's talking about it. But it's the old adage, is bad publicity good publicity?
It's the other way around, isn't it? Is any publicity?
It's bad publicity. Good publicity.
Yeah.
Or is any publicity good publicity?
I mean, the guy's a fucking clown, innit?
I didn't know much about him. I just knew it was like.
I know that he spends like he charges like 10 grand for a steak with gold flakes on. Let me tell you now, if he's charging 10 grand for a steak and you're buying that, you're a fucking idiot.
You
right?
are. You can get two.
Anybody.
You can get two for £7 at Morrison's.
I don't want to come across like a miserable old bastard, but
well, that ship sailed.
Thank you very much. But this is it does seem like this is the world we live in now.
I know, man. It doesn't mean you have to like it, though, does it? Do you know what I mean? Like, you're right.
Can you imagine if it sprinkled it when Maradona won the World Cup? Maradona would be down there.
Maradona sniffing out, right? So we're going to stick some on it. Stick something decent on it. Never mind gold flakes. Put a bit of proper flake on it. But yeah, it was just one of them where it's proper cringe. And the guy just doesn't seem to care. He just keeps doing it. I'm like, oh, my God. And the whole politicians thing, it's that wider conversation, in it, with the politicians jumping on the football.
Yeah, and obviously the the sports washing as well. There was a lot of controversy about them putting Messi into the cloak.
What did you make of that? Because at the time, I'll be honest with you, I didn't think anything of it. It didn't even hit me on the radar. It wasn't, and I know I'm the typical, got an opinion about everything. I pretty much have, but I just watched it, I didn't think anything of it.
No, I didn't either. To be honest, the only time I started getting interested in when people were being offensive about it, really, online, and they were saying like, well, why is he dressed in like a bath cloak, or like what was the other one? Why is he dressed like Darth Vader? I mean, and whatever you think of like Qatar or the politics, for me, it just seemed like a cultural thing, and it was held in their country. I don't think it'd be any different. I can't think of any other World Cup finals, but I imagine there would be some sort of representation of that culture in the final.
It felt like a bit of a storm in a teacup to me, anyway. Because like I said, I've got an opinion on anything.
The best
it didn't
photo,
even register for me.
The best photo was the fucking Willy glove.
Martinez.
No.
He is right.
I want him at
United. He's a loon, innit? Like, he's not playing. He's full on lost the plot. Checked it. Because a lot of keepers have, haven't they? Yeah. A lot of keepers are like lunatics. And he is the typical one. Like, he's the quintessential absolute nutter. Like, never shuts up when he's like, see him on the penalties, giving everyone grief, throwing the ball away. An absolute
I don't think football's got enough of them sort of characters.
No, and it was funny because like the other week we were talking about iconic images from the World Cup. We were on, I think it was on one of the Paddock podcasts, and someone, I think it was Joe Smith, was saying we haven't really had an iconic image yet from this World Cup. And then in that game you had so many, and one of them, I don't know if iconic's the right word, but was him doing that, and one of the guys from Qatar, like just looking at him like, what are you doing?
No, do you know, for me when I looked at that, it looked like he was like thinking, Willy glove, there's money in that. Do you know what I mean? Look at the image. It's like, how can I take that to market? Do you know what I mean?
Get your Willy gloves. Get your gold plated.
For the man with 5 penises.
For the man. It was bizarre. It was just a bizarre end to that World Cup, wasn't it? With all the
shenanigans. The whole World Cup was. You seen Alan Shearer's quotes? That I think Richard Keys has been trying to drag Alan Shearer this evening.
Richard Keys needs to put a sock in it.
It was something like Alan Shearer said that it was like a Disneyland, which was great during the World Cup. But I think now that FIFA need to compensate and all the families of the workers that have passed away and stuff. And then Richard Keys said something along the lines of he didn't say anything about when he was working for beIN or stuff like that. And is he going to say anything about the Saudi owners at Newcastle and stuff? What do you make of it? I mean, I don't know how much I can talk about the people who've gone over, especially from the BBC's point of view, to work on it. But what's your take?
See,
Gary Neville's come up for a lot of stick.
Well, Gary Neville worked for beIN when he was there, didn't he? That's where the hypocrisy comes in. He's not just working for ITV. He went and worked for beIN, which I think is part of the
That's the Qatari thing.
So you're sort of working for the people that you're slagging off. I liked Alex Scott. I like what she said. I thought she was very, very good in what she said about Infantino, for example. I thought the BBC's coverage, I'm not just saying this because you work from couldn't care less, but I thought the fact that when the opening ceremony was on, and this isn't the first time they've done it, I don't think they did the same thing in Russia. You could still watch the opening ceremony on the BBC. I think you had to watch it on the red button. But you went on the BBC, the main channel, they spoke about workers' rights. They spoke about some of the people that had died over there. They spoke about the way that LGBTQ people were being treated. And I thought Alex Scott spoke very well about Infantino and his nonsense. And I get it. I get the idea of like, look, there's always going to be people say, well, you're a hypocrite for being over there. But if you say, I'm going to go over there, but I am going to highlight these issues, which she did, and I thought she did it very well, and I thought a lot of the BBC, people on the BBC did it, then yeah, why not? Yeah. I think when it is hypocrisy is when you're working for them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Not working out there is different than working for them.
Yeah. I had... I'll just deviate and I'll come back to the point I'm trying to make. I interviewed a Ukrainian refugee last week for something I'm working on, and she was saying that because it's not on trend, the war that's still obviously happening, it's hard to try and get funding or any support as time's gone on. And I was trying to explain, like, I work for the BBC, but I'm the presenter. I only get 5 minutes with you. And she was like saying, because I had like a 2-hour interview. I was talking to her and her husband. And they were saying it's frustrating because all they want is to just tell us the horror bit of it and not want the whole story. Right. They said that, like, because when the Ukraine kicked off, I think it was February 23rd, I think it was when it kicked off.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know.
But anyway, there was a lot of things around it. There was like charity singles. There was a lot of, like, everyone was wearing blue and yellow. So like now with the Qatar World Cup, a lot of people beforehand were saying it's outrageous, it shouldn't happen because of the Qatari human rights and this what's happened to the migrants. I always find it interesting is that how much do the people that protested from Twitter, from in the public eye, care that much about it, or will they leave and not say anything post? Because for me, it just seems like we've got to do it now because it's on trend. So it's that's hypocritical for me.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand it. I understand what you're saying.
It seems to be like that protesting seems to have become a hashtag.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone cares that much.
I think you're right about some people or a lot of people not caring that much. I think there's a truth to that. I think that, the reason you're having a conversation while it's happening is because it's happening.
Yeah.
Because it's there. And it's at the World Cup's in Qatar and it's all being highlighted. And then you're right, once the World Cup finished, which it has done now, are people still going to be talking about Qatari human rights or migrant workers' rights in Qatar? Probably not. I saw it in South Africa when I was over there. There were certain things that went on in the South African World Cup where I spoke to people that had been had over by FIFA. And it was being highlighted in certain respects when we were over there. And then once the World Cup ended, no one cared. Everyone was like, Africa's had its first World Cup. It's been a huge success. Everyone's happy days. I know it's a little bit more,
No, you're right to say
different now, in 2022 with, I don't think there was reportedly thousands, according to some reports, of deaths in South Africa compared to what there was in Qatar.
Yeah.
So I get that, and obviously the sort of the rainbow thing and Qatar not having that has highlighted the other issues as well. So I get it. I get why you have it whilst the World Cup's on, and I think it is sad that people will just go and forget about it, and like they have with Ukraine to a certain degree. And you look at the war in Ukraine, you look at how different it was treated to what was going on in Syria, what was going on in Afghanistan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How often did we hear about that? How often did we hear about the victims of that war? I watched a great documentary called Fasama about the Syrian war. It was just absolutely heartbreaking. And I thought, you know what? I can't remember much coverage of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, where was that coverage?
Yeah.
And that was something that Britain had been involved in a bad way in a lot of respects.
Yeah, they created the vacuum for that as well.
And it's like, we have this, you're right to say it almost does feel like a hashtag or a phase or a fad.
It is, it's become like fashion.
I stand with Ukraine and I'll stick a yellow and blue flag in me Ave, and then I'll probably remove it in a few months because no one cares anymore. Now I get there are people that constantly care.
No, there are.
I get the people that you are who, it isn't just a hashtag to you. I'm not saying everyone's like that, but I understand what you're saying. Is it becomes popular for a bit and then people fuck it off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And I think that's really fucking sad. And I wonder if that's down to the amount of information that we have at our hands.
There's too much.
There's too much because it's dead easy to sort of get down different rabbit holes about what do we need to protest about now? Do you know what I mean? Like there's always something. I was thinking the other day, like ISIS, like that seems like it was decades ago.
Right.
Do you know? Doesn't it? Just because when you look at everything that's happened in what was that 5 years ago, 6 years ago maybe?
Yeah.
A pandemic, the Ukraine war.
I mean, ISIS
Brexit.
aren't what they used to be, are they? Do you know what I mean?
No.
They've sort of gone out of fashion now, haven't they?
But that's
what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, what happened is the Taliban's coming back now, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It was the Taliban went out and then they've come back.
I'm not making jokes about this.
Right, I'm not making jokes. I'm being serious.
Yeah. You're laughing though. There's nothing funny about this.
You don't hear much from them anymore, though, do you?
No.
Right? Are they even a thing anymore? Are they done?
I don't know. I don't subscribe.
Well, you're the one that brought it up.
I was just saying that. I was thinking the other day when I was talking to that woman. I was thinking like how many sort of refugee crises there's been.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like ISIS just seems like so long ago because of all the sort of world events that have happened since, like the Donald Trump shit. And
that's what I mean. Because didn't he say that he'd ended ISIS?
Yeah.
But I thought was it Obama who actually did or something?
I don't know.
I don't know about what is going on with
Producer
ISIS.
Ethan, see if ISIS is still going.
I thought ISIS was genuinely like it's done, but I thought what happened in Afghanistan is they added Afghanistan back to the Taliban.
Yeah, but wasn't ISIS? It was in Syria though, wasn't it?
Ah, right. I'm glad we cleared that up. And that's
as clear as mud.
Geopolitics for the insane. Right.
Can I just explain why I've got like yellow?
No, you can't.
Oh,
we don't need to know that. You want to paint your nails. You don't need to explain yourself on this show.
You were taking the piss out of me before, saying that yes, you was.
I wouldn't do that at all.
2023, James.
I would never take them. Listen, you can paint your nails.
I didn't paint my nails.
Don't be ashamed of yourself, right? I'm glad you're finally expressing yourself in the way you want to. I just think you can do better colour than that. That's
You
the only
think?
thing I'd say.
It's
Do you know?
a
And
bit
also,
hassy-
what's
bit hassy
that?
and the yellow.
What's that there? That's
What's
half-hearted, that one.
No, I was trying to chip them away. Just let me get the context in. My daughter's painted my nails yesterday because we had a spa day, and then I was trying to chip them away with at the soft play today. So that's why they're coming off.
Right.
But I just didn't have time because somebody told me to be here for 5 o'clock. And then
Really, yeah. What was I doing? Whiling away the hours making thumbnails. Hey. Also, do you know what made me laugh when I went and watched England? And I'll tell you about this, talking to the Taliban. There was England fans singing, right, which I never understood. No surrender to the Taliban. That's what they were singing. And I was like, I don't get that. You go to the football match, you're singing no surrender to the Taliban. We were playing, it was England versus Germany in South Africa. Do you know what I mean?
Did you see the
When someone was telling me they used to sing no surrender to the IRA.
Somebody posted or retweeted a Forces news tweet the other day, and it was like, must be all like all the armed forces news.
Steve Alson's probably subscribed to that. It's probably
and
on
it was, and it was the outrage that Argentina were singing a song about the English and the Falklands.
Right.
And I was thinking, and I was like, but pretty sure like England fans sing German bombers songs and
Mate,
stuff
when
like that.
I was there in South Africa, they were dressed as Germans, not Germans, as RAF.
They were
pilots.
dressed as freaking crusaders in Qatar. I was like, fucking hell.
Do you remember the
How'd you get a sword through customs?
Do you remember that on Sky when they interviewed the Irish girl, when the Irish had sang songs about it, and the women's football team?
Yeah.
And it was like, I kept saying to her, like, do you think they need more education? And she was like, no, I don't think we need education around what's gone on there. Yeah, I think sometimes with that sort of stuff, the certain people, listen, I get the idea that you can be upset or whatever when you hear that sort of thing, but then you get the outrage, and then I've seen people like just going mad on Twitter as always, like, oh, these lot, half of them, you know, loads of them play in England, and loads of them don't, and even if they do, what's that got to do with anything? Do you know what I mean? There's people in England that sing daft songs. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, it's sacred, you can't sing songs about the Falklands or whatever. And obviously for them, it's a subject that's close to their heart. Do you know what I mean? When you look at...
Do you think Twitter's good for your mental health or social media? Because am I right in thinking it didn't go through any sort of regulation? Like there was no tests done to how this might affect the psyche. But you're talking there that you're stopping your kids getting to school on time because you're angry about
picking
someone.
them up from
well,
school.
you left your kids there till 6 in the evening because you because you were arguing on Twitter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's not healthy.
No, but I was aware of that behaviour and I stopped it.
No, I know, yeah, but you're of sound mind. Do you know what I mean?
Clip that bit up.
But there are people out there that just will end up rowing and then losing their shit.
But, you know, I understand that. Like, there are bad sides to it, obviously. Of course there is, because there's online bullying, there's harassment, there's that thing where you put yourself on a pedestal. We'll see this at Christmas, and we're going to get into it in another video, where at Christmas time people post pictures of all the gifts they've bought or that Santa's bought for the kids, and then people feel under pressure for that.
Yeah.
I get there's a lot of negativity around social media, and there's a lot of bad parts of social media, but there's also a lot of positive and good things about social media. You know, you're talking about, or we've spoken about conflicts. The times when social media helps is the way that some of these people communicate.
Well, the
with
woman
each
I was
other.
speaking to the other day, she was saying like that she was documenting her journey from Kiev to Manchester,
Really?
like live on
See
social
what I
media,
mean?
and the BBC were actually using that as their sort of.
So there's that as well, isn't there, where you get the positive aspects, and you know, in some cases, I know it sounds melodramatic, but it's true, life-changing or life-saving aspects of social media, where that can actually be the people's gateway back to the family or whatever. So I understand, you know, there's a lot that goes on
It's
there.
a tool, but I think sometimes we're a bit flippant with how we use it.
I think you made a good point earlier about, you talk about the echo chamber and, you know, making it being your own echo chamber. And I think you can make it your own echo chamber in the sense that if you are of that sort of persuasion or you struggle sometimes with it, then you can literally just follow the people that you agree with and want to engage with, and ignore everyone else. Just do it like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to engage with people. You don't have to. And that's what I sort of had to learn. Actually, I don't need to be pulling over my car on the school run to argue with a Twitter account that I'm, you know, of a faceless person I'm never going to meet in my life. I don't have to. I don't have to engage with people who I don't agree with. I can just ignore them. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to follow anyone I don't want to. And it's the same. It's like your Facebook. You wouldn't have people on your Facebook, would you, necessarily, that you don't know
No,
or like?
no, it's a little bit more personal.
Yeah,
isn't it?
and I think you can do that on any social media. You know, I think Instagram's a bit of a funny one for me because it's like a bit of a mix between the two for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I've got quite a few people on Insta that follow me who I don't know, and they're just. But then I've got my family on there and people that obviously do know me. Also on that, it's a bit more personal for me. I tend to put pictures of my kids and stuff on there. I never do that on Twitter, which says a lot, doesn't it? When you don't feel like you put pictures of your kids on a social media platform because they're gonna get trolled or whatever. So yeah, no, I think you make a good point. It can be negative and it can be difficult, but for me, I still think the positives outweigh the negatives.
Yeah.
I think it's a good tool for news, and I think that it can be a good way of sort of keeping people in touch with each other.
Yeah, I mean, and it's been a massive help for me in terms of like recently, like having mental health blips or going for 40 days today sober. And
40 days.
Believe me, man, the last like week and a bit has just come proper fucking. I mean, we'll talk about like woes of Christmas very soon, but I went to try and find somewhere to meditate the other week. Because I'm big into meditation. And I don't really talk about this on the show, but yeah, I really like Buddhism and stuff. I've been for years, but I just had this massive. I need to just like meditate, but I couldn't like just sit there and do it with something in my ears. I needed someone to speak to. I went to like 3 different Buddhist centres, and I thought, there's one in Charlton. And I was there in my park, and then this monk, who must have been like 80, came out and said, "Oh no, you've got the wrong day." And I was just and he goes, "Lads," he goes, "It's all right." And we had a chat about certain things, and it was really good. And I just sat me down, and I mean, this will be a good segue to the Patreon if you want to subscribe, and we can talk about that next on the next show. But he gave me a really good bit of advice, and it was about like when you've got like a world of problems and stuff, and you always feel like everything is against you or attacking you. He said, we as humans often look out the window, but very rarely do we see our own reflection. Do you know what I mean? So the problem's always out there, and it's always their fault. Right. But you never actually see your own doing in whatever situation, and also how much you can control it, because that's something else I'm trying to get my head around. Like, so, and can't control fuck all except for your thoughts, really.
Yeah, even that's a struggle sometimes.
Oh, mate, like fucking wacky races in my head last couple of weeks. But yeah, so
well done on your 40 days anyway,
thank you very
bro.
much.
And it's always inspiring to hear that, because I was saying, like we said earlier, one day at a time. But to get to 40 days, I tried for years to get to 40 days, couldn't get near it. So congratulations on that, and keep fighting a good fight. I'll let you do the plug for the Patreon.
I've just done it twice.
We can do one final.
I'll do one for 3 times. Okay.
And you can lose the attitude, starters. Do you know what I mean? Coming in here, giving it the big, do you know what I mean?
I like to refer to you as Hello Old Sport. Have you watched The Great Gatsby?
Have I watched it?
Yeah.
No, I've read it. I've not watched it.
You've not watched the film?
No.
Oh, man,
with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Well, there's a few of them, but that was one I watched last night.
I'm not saying
Yeah, it's really,
Me
really
and Joe
good.
Smith were going to do a book club, right? He said, let's do a book club. We'll read a book. We'll both read a book, like the same book, obviously. And then we'll chat about it. And The Great Gatsby was the first one we chose, because it's one of the great American novels. I read it. He didn't read it.
Why don't we do a book club?
Right, yeah, we'll do a book club.
I actually read. Greatest ending to any book I've ever read. That.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Very good.
I'll do that anyway. So back to plugging the Patreon. Yes, we do offer a Patreon service on Scotty and Motty. Before any of that, anyway, I think as it's Christmas and stuff, thank you everybody who has been following us for the last couple of years. The show seems to be growing bigger and better. Big shout out to producer Ethan tonight,
Thank
who's
you,
behind
Ethan.
the camera there. But if you do want to support us a little bit further by £2 a month, we do extra videos, articles. I'm going to be starting a new series of stuff, videos on there as well. It's like £2 a month, but we understand that times are hard or anything. But if anyone wants to get into our email us, because we've done stuff on addiction and stuff like that, I'll quite happily just throw you the link for obviously nothing about that. But yeah, you'll plug a link in the bottom of the YouTube thing. Was that all right?
Yeah, very good. Very good. I like
Get
it.
better at this.
Kicking and screaming will drag you into this plugging malarkey. You'll
You were upset the other day, weren't you?
Why?
When you said, where can people find you?
You know what the worst one was? I did that show that you do sometimes the other day as well. Was it a couple of weeks ago? And I, because I'm so used to saying it, it's the phone-in show, and I went, get involved in the comments. It's like, no, it's phone in, not get involved in the comments. No, well done, Scotty, and well done on your 40 days. Thanks to everyone, like Scotty was saying, everyone who supported us through 2022 and through 2021 and from 2020 when we started this. The support has been great. We do try to reply to everyone who messages us and emails and tweets us and stuff like that. And if we do, miss anyone, forgive me, we will try and get better at that stuff. But we appreciate the fact that people get involved and have a good conversation. And, we've been chatting to some great people over these last few years, including you, my friend.
Oh, and yourself.
Always good bit of therapy, this, for me. So that's been Scotty. I've been Motty. This has been Scotty and Motty. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe, and check out the Patreon. Thanks for watching.